Hey there, kids! I figured that now would be a pretty good time to remind you of the Gilded Age. The term Gilded Age was coined by Mark Twain in the late 1800s, and it's a metaphor for something that has a thin layer of gold on the outside, but it's actually rotten on the inside. Or, in other words, something that is gilded with gold. Now, why would you refer to an entire time period as a Gilded Age? Well, I'll explain it to you. At first glance, one might see the American economy booming between the 1870s and the 1890s, with great innovations in industries like steel, railroad work, shipping, and banking. And although that all may be true, the overwhelming majority of Americans were living in poverty. You see, the extreme lack of regulation around these industry giants like Andrew Carnegie, John Rockefeller, and Cornelius Vanderbilt, that ended up creating something called monopolies. Yes, like the board game! You see, a monopoly is the exclusive possession and control of the supply or trade in a commodity or service. So in layman's terms, it means that you have so much control over the market that there's no one left to compete against you. Now, the establishment of these monopolies led to widespread use of the term robber barons when referring to these industry giants at the top. You see, these men accrued their wealth through abusive and unethical business practices, acting like barons of old, all while robbing the working class. You see, the horrible living conditions of the Gilded Age did end up leading to some major progress, because living in squalor was unacceptable for millions of Americans. And so, we began to see the establishment of unions and the beginning of regulatory systems being put in place to prevent the growth of monopolies. Teddy Roosevelt led this charge, creating the Sherman Antitrust Act, which helped take power from these oligarchs and give it back to the people where it belongs. Always remember, there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Back to you, Chris.